So I encourage all Sierra-Leoneans to join me to fight corruption. This is just the beginning.
We try as an organization foresee, on the question of economic management of the resources, public finances, whether this government actually committed to corruption, and the pronouncement of the government, both in the manifesto before the Nkana power and then performance over this period of 3 years, whether exactly the public pronouncement matched the actual performance.
And would you say the current fight against corruption has minimized corruption in your administration, or do you think you also have thieves in administration?
I wouldn't call anybody I've appointed as thieves, but I would tell you for sure that now, if you have to steal, you must be very cautious. You know it is risky. You know if you are caught that the penalties can be quite rigid.
Where would I tell people that money comes from? The office of the First Lady is not part of a government institution. In Sierra Leone, I've been blessed that my husband actually got me my own office where I can wake up in the morning and go to work and come home, so that we separate our home from office.
Where we publish, for example, the office of the First Lady, saying that the office of the First Lady received an illegal budgetary allocation of $3 million, the equivalent of $3 million in less than 3 years. The office of the First Lady the First Lady come out and say, yes, he received the money, and he begin to justify. So basically, there has never been any of the publications running up to almost a year now by the African Express in which any of these officials deny the authenticity of the publications. What they have been trying to do is to rationalize, or justify their action.
I spend money, office they spend money. They're not missing a corruption. If I spend 10 billion, they're not missing a corruption. The most important thing is I follow the procedure for make sure say, my office we get for us. If my office follow the procedure, forget the money. Where they spend the money, they account for them. And waiting a use of the office or anybody where they say they're accused of corruption, whether they use the money for the purpose for which they say. If all of them, because they say the office of the president use 10 billion for we, because of the money in himself, if he have for 10 billion, then at $1 million. But if you go elsewhere, you will see, me, if I travel today, not to be responsibility for buy me ticket or for get me plane or for spend. I not get that money for travel that way. Me, the head of state of the Republic of Sierra Leone, the state they responsible for me travel and me stay outside they go.
Article will be published on March 1, 2020. Get to do with the bloated wage bill. The government has been saying in the election promises that they therefore reduce the size of the expenditure where they go on the payroll. Then we find out the payroll don't increase by 45%. In the 2 years, getting to 2 years with Nkana power, and we see the government developed a creative mechanism to which they hide corruption in the payroll by rewarding the political party appointees with these positions that they create high-end salaries. Very recently, we even identified a situation where, for example, the nutritionist of the president, the cameraman of the president, all these people get more than 20 million leones a month, when university professors do not earn up to 20 million leones. So we aggregate them here. We say, this situation is not different from what may not happen. In fact, the government don't accelerate public expenditure to 45% when it comes to the payroll. So if you
excuse me, we have all been corrupt in this country. Sometimes people talk about corruption as if they are not being corrupt. What we have to recognize and acknowledge as a country is that it is not a single person that has been corrupt. It became a culture, and that culture, fighting against a culture, is not an easy fight. The opposition, or those who talk about the wage bill, they were not able to pay that small number. But we have been able to pay ours consistently since we came. We are dealing with a nation, so it is not the numbers. Are we taking teachers for the sake of taking teachers? No. Are we taking in nurses for the sake of taking in nurses? No. Human capital development is our flagship program, remember? And for us to deliver on that, especially the education aspect, we need teachers. Good teachers, well motivated. So we've had to increase their allowances by 10%. We've had to increase their salaries by another 30%. Same for the nurses. This is not money wasted.
They approved me inside 2018, November. Then they approved me. They don't give me salary till inside 2019, December. Then they begin give me salary. That is when they begin give me salary. Wait till they do. Now 2 months salary now they give me. Can you imagine? 2 months. But what about the 1 year, 2 months? Wait at the end. Where me money? How money they will want her? Do your big. So now this government will not get salary.
They give them back. This government is saying a priority in education, and what they give
If you buy what they get, nothing know the left now. When they really suffer, when I give this money and now we money, we don't work for it. When I give it, let us suffer. Not over for someone. When I give it with money, when we money, when I give it with money.
SPP for like treat that way then, because all the former governments they will pay backlog.
Yeah. Why not they can education at their
we don't go vote for them, don't come in power. They don't approve. We for let them pay with backlog. It don't be problem for them.
But they forgot that they promised a departure from the old ways of doing things.
So when they say, for instance, the first lady in office spend whatever billions, the other question would be, whose side is spending? Now clothes you go buy, now house you go buy, now hotel you go buy. No.
Anytime another first lady invites me for Ghana in country, now in they buy me tickets. Now in they buy me PA in ticket, he buy me security then ticket, he buy me media people in ticket, now then can buy them ticket. So when then they come to me, the same thing applies. I buy them tickets. And when they come, now me they host them, now me call them in my country, I get for pay them hotel bill.
It's pen and power with picking them at this country. And it don't account for them.
Under normal circumstances, they should not even audit the office of the First Lady. They only audit offices, public offices,
right,
and offices that belong to the government of Sierra Leone. And if there is any office that they gave government money that is not a recognized office of the government of Sierra Leone, instead of them auditing that office, they should simply ask the office to refund the money. So let us say Samuel has a company.
Right.
Do you want to say the Minister of Finance has the right to expend government money to your company when it is not part of the offices of the government of Sierra Leone? No. Instead of auditing you are wasting government resources to even go in further to audit office that should not be audited.
The audit service is one of the most respected state institutions in Sierra Leone, and you have said that it's their responsibility to hold the government accountable as much as the law allows them to. Do you feel sorry for the Auditor General for what she seems to be going through, which some say is harassment, for doing a good job auditing your system?
Do you also pity me or my wife when they talk about her?
The audit service, you mean? Talk about you and your wife?
No.
But I'm specific in terms of the audit.
We are talking about her now. You seem to be concerned about her. But you know what has been said about my person, my wife, and all of these people sitting here?
Maybe you are politicians, she is not.
Public officer. When you step into that space, there is no more fence. You are open. They say everything and anything about you. You think my intervention is going to stop? No. Should I call it the accusation you're making? It's the same thing my wife tells me. They are telling me I'm a thief, I'm not this, and she cries and that. I say, I've been called worse names than that. But nobody called me to come here. I chose to come here. If you can't stand the heat, don't go to the kitchen.
As long
as you take money on behalf of the Sierra Leonean people, as long as you take public office and the attendant resources they give you, you subjected to public scrutiny. So let nobody no come public for can intimidate anybody with regards to accountability. Accountability na fundamental of governance, na fundamental of democracy, na part and parcel. When you give me something on behalf of the Sierra Leonean people, I get right for can answer. Say that's the way you give me. Na so I do am.
You get something where the money are you. Now this week on Sierra Leone. Well, Aliu and Justin they give you the chance for make you blow your mind. Now the program called We Are for Blow Your Mind. The truth you get for say yeah. And it no matter what truth you get for say. Try save the future. The truth you get for say yeah. And it no matter what truth you get for say.